Unable to stand after the accident, I called my mother for help with my newborn twins. Her answer, "I have a golf trip. Deal with it." She hung up and blocked my number, so I hired a nanny. But the day my mother came back, she learned a very hard lesson about crossing me. My spine was fractured in 2 places. 2 bassinets sat inches away. My newborn twins were screaming, and I lacked the physical ability to sit up and reach them. Every movement sent fire down my legs. I gripped my phone with shaking fingers and dialed my mother. I just needed her to come for 1 single week to help me keep my children alive while my bones fused. She answered on the 4th ring. Her voice dragged with heavy annoyance. "Good Lord. Natalie, you always know how to ruin my mood. I have a spa day and a tea time booked in South Carolina. A broken back just means you need to lie still. The nurses can hand you the babies. Deal with it." The line clicked. Dead air. I dialed back immediately. Straight to voicemail. She blocked me. I swiped to her social media page. A fresh photo sat at the top of my feed, uploaded moments before I called. She posed on a manicured golf green, wearing a bright smile. The caption stared right back at me, escaping the family drama. I locked my jaw. The realization hit me hard. I was completely on my own. If I broke down, my children would suffer. I shoved the panic down and locked it tight. They rolled me out of the hospital 3 days later. A 29-year-old insurance claims coordinator, strapped into a wheelchair, balancing 2 infants in my lap. My apartment used to be my sanctuary. Now, it was a concrete trap. The doorways were too narrow. The kitchen counters towered out of reach. The first night alone stripped me down. At 2 in the morning, the twins' cries pierced the dark. I grabbed the mattress, dragging my dead weight upright, and tried to pull myself up to the bassinet. The surgical staples in my back stretched. White-hot fire ripped through my spine as warm blood seeped into my bandages. I collapsed onto the floorboards, biting my lip to stifle a scream so I would not terrify them. Blood family was a cruel joke. I dragged myself across the rug to my laptop. My savings account read exactly $25,000, the down payment for our future house. I took a deep breath and transferred every single cent into my checking account. Survival was not cheap. Joanne Brooks walked through my front door the next morning. She took one look at my blood-seeping shirt and the crying infants, nodded, and took over the chaos. Within 2 hours, both babies were bathed, fed, and sleeping soundly. She became the hands and feet I no longer had. That afternoon, Thomas Hayes knocked. He was just a neighbor and physical therapist. He brought a box filled with hot, home-cooked meals, checked my bandages, and adjusted my wheelchair to ease the pressure on my spine. He asked for nothing in return. The contrast made my stomach churn. Hundreds of miles away, my own flesh and blood was posting selfies for her country club friends, ignoring her paralyzed daughter. Meanwhile, a professional nanny and a neighbor were keeping me and my children breathing. Every dollar draining from my account bought my children safety and time to heal. Underneath the exhaustion, the panic hardened into something solid, ice cold. The illusion of my mother was finally dead. Day 4 arrived with a sharp pounding on my door. My mother strutted into my living room like she owned the building, with Aunt Carol trailing behind her. They wore pristine tennis skirts, smelling like expensive perfume. My jaw tightened. My mother ignored my broken spine entirely. She walked past my wheelchair, yanked the power cord of the infant breathing monitor from the wall, and plugged in her phone charger without missing us a beat. A dangerous fury pooled in my chest. She marched into the kitchen, pulled out the meals Thomas had cooked for my recovery, and started eating them. I spun my chair to face her. "You sit in a chair all day," she muttered. You hardly burn enough calories to need a hot meal. You should be losing that baby weight anyway. She tossed the container into the sink. Time for a photo for the club ladies, she announced. She marched toward the bassinets and reached down, preparing to yank my sleeping daughter out of the blankets for a selfish prop. I slammed my hands against the wheels and rolled my chair directly between her and the crib, blocking her path. Her face twisted into a furious snarl. She slammed her hands against the armrests of my wheelchair and shoved me backward with all her strength. I flew backward, the wheelchair slamming brutally against the doorframe. The impact shattered through my broken spine, instantly ripping my fresh surgical stitches open. I collapsed onto the floorboards in agony. Aunt Carol looked down at my bleeding back and sighed. "Come on, Natalie," Carol whined. "Just endure it. Your mother is under a lot of stress right now. You are making a huge scene out of a little push. Stop being so dramatic. We are family." Joanne burst into the room. She took one look at me bleeding on the floor, and her eyes turned lethal. She planted her solid frame directly between my broken body and my mother. "Get out," Joanne growled. My mother scoffed. "You are just the hired help," she hissed. "You do not speak to me that way in my daughter's house. I am the one keeping these children alive while you play dress-up." Joanne fired back. "Walk out that door right now, or I will physically drag you out by your hair. And I promise you, I will enjoy it." My mother and Aunt Carol fled into the hallway, slamming the door behind them. Joanne knelt beside me, pressing a clean towel to my bleeding spine. Blood means absolutely nothing. Loyalty is everything. Joanne finished taping fresh gauze to my back. I rolled my chair toward the wooden desk. The top drawer hung open. My private mail sat scattered. The envelope from the insurance company was ripped open, exposing the settlement paperwork. $250,000. My mother never cared about taking a photo with her grandchildren. She used that altercation as a smokescreen to hunt through my apartment for the payout. I grabbed my phone and called her. She picked up, country club jazz and clinking glasses echoing through the speaker. I confronted her about the opened envelope. She laughed. "That $250,000 belongs to me," she hissed over the phone. "You are completely paralyzed. What if you die? What if you can never work again? It is my money for raising you. I am taking half for my troubles and putting the rest in an account I control." I kept my voice dead level. I told her she had absolutely no legal right to touch my children's future. "Go ahead and sue me. Natalie, let us see exactly who the judge believes. You are a crippled, unstable single mother popping heavy painkillers in a tiny apartment. I am a highly respected South Park socialite with endless resources. I will have you declared mentally and physically unfit. I will take full custody of those twins. And then, I will take every last cent of that money anyway." The line went dead. She thought she had backed me into a corner. She forgot what I do for a living. I investigate insurance fraud. I build traps for greedy liars every day. I picked up the phone and dialed my attorney, Rowan Bennett. I needed her to walk right into a snare. Rowan drafted an emergency disbursement notice. It stated the $250,000 cash check was ready for immediate pickup, explicitly requiring a designated cosigner to bring their ID and sign the release form in person at the law office. I printed the fake notice, crumpled the edges slightly, and shoved it halfway into the kitchen trash can, leaving the high-dollar lettering perfectly visible. 2 hours later, my mother texted, demanding to stop by to pick up her charger. I unlocked the front door and rolled my chair into the bedroom, out of sight. Heels clicked across the kitchen floor. Paper rustled from the trash bin. Seconds later, the front door slammed shut. I rolled back into the kitchen. The bait was gone. She planned to forge my signature on a power of attorney form, walking right into a major federal felony convinced she had outsmarted me. Brenda strutted into Rowan Bennett's law office with Aunt Carol flanking her. She marched straight to the desk, slapped the forged power of attorney document onto the wood, and demanded the check. Rowan inspected the wet ink, gave a curt nod, and pressed a button under his desk. The door swung open. I rolled my wheelchair into the room with two uniformed police officers at my sides. Thomas and Joanne stood right behind me. Brenda froze. The smug smirk slid off her face as the color drained from her cheeks. Her eyes darted wildly toward the officers, then to the forged document. She was completely trapped. I locked eyes onto hers. Did you really think an insurance fraud investigator would leave a $250,000 disbursement letter in the trash? That signature you just handed over is a Class 1 felony? Aunt Carol lunged forward. Natalie, please. She begged. We are family. She just made a mistake. She was trying to help you. Please just let this go. Do not ruin her life over a misunderstanding. I spun my chair toward her. Family, when she shoved me into a wall and ripped my stitches open. You stood there and told me to endure it. Endure this. Carol. Open your mouth one more time, and I will instruct these officers to arrest you right now as an accessory to fraud. Carol scrambled backward against the wall, shrinking into the corner and utterly abandoning her sister. Handcuffs clicked loudly around Brenda's wrists. She thrashed and shrieked, cursing my name as the officers dragged her out into the hallway. I handed Rowan a formal fraud risk notification, complete with her arrest report. He mailed it directly to the South Park Country Club. Within 24 hours, Brenda was permanently blacklisted. Her socialite life was completely annihilated. The settlement went straight into a trust for my twins. Later that evening, Thomas warmed bottles while Joanne rocked my daughter to sleep. The biological rot was surgically removed from my life. I watched them laugh across the room. My real family was right here. The judge sentenced Brenda Carter to 6 years in the state penitentiary for felony forgery and identity theft. The court ordered full restitution of $45,000 to cover my legal and medical bills. The local news ran a segment on the arrest, and the South Park Country Club formally revoked her membership, removing her name from the donor wall. Her massive suburban house went into foreclosure. She lost the stolen money, her freedom, and her pristine social reputation. 8 months later, I received a letter from the state correctional facility. Brenda wrote 4 pages blaming her lawyers. She wrote, I am still your mother, Natalie. I did all of this to protect the family assets. You need to contact the judge and drop the civil suit. A year ago, this would have sent my heart racing. Today, I felt absolutely nothing. I fed the letter straight into the kitchen shredder. Later that week, Aunt Carol left a weeping voicemail, begging me to put money into Brenda's commissary account. I deleted it and blocked her number. My life looks entirely different now. The wheelchair sits folded up in a closet while I walk with a sturdy cane. Thomas stands at the kitchen island baking fresh bread while my 2-year-old twins chase each other. Joanne sits on the sofa, sipping tea and laughing. We eat dinner together every Sunday evening. There is no waiting for the next cruel insult. We share just warmth, absolute safety, and deep respect. I drained $25,000 and suffered a broken back to find out what real love actually looks like. I would pay that exact price all over again. I used to think survival meant enduring the people who hurt you simply because you share a last name. I was completely wrong. Narcissists do not view your vulnerability as a call for help. They view it as an opportunity to strike. They calculate how to extract money from your wounds, weaponizing your gratitude against you. Then, you have the enablers. They beg you to quietly endure abuse to keep the family together. Enablers are just cowards dressed up as peacemakers. They use you as a meat shield so they never have to face the abuser's wrath themselves. Demanding a victim tolerate abuse is an act of abuse itself. Rule number 1. Blood is a biological accident. Loyalty is a conscious choice. The people who share your DNA can leave you paralyzed on a cold floor, while strangers build a fortress around you. True family consists of the people who show up when you have nothing left to give. Rule number 2. Enablers are just abusers in polite clothing. Cutting them off requires the exact same ruthlessness. They will always try to drag you back into the cage. Rule number 3. Never negotiate with someone who uses your pain as leverage. Sometimes, you have to watch the police drag your own mother away to secure your survival. Narcissists only respect cold, hard consequences. They will never respect your boundaries until you enforce them with a sledgehammer. Take a hard look at the people at your dinner table. If you were paralyzed tomorrow, who would spoon-feed you and who would steal the food off your plate? Do not wait until you are trapped in a wheelchair to find out. Burn the toxic bridges and let the fire light your way forward. Share this story if you have ever had to cut off toxic family to save your life.